When a fighter loses stamina in the ring, the opponent rejoices. But when the husband loses stamina in the room, the opponent is saddened. Welcome to another episode. We're going to section 2 of chapter 47 of the Holy Quran. Chapter 47 is Surah to Muhammad. No, Surah to Fatih. In fact, not chapter 47, but chapter 48. So we're going to chapter 48. We're going to section 2 of chapter 48, which is Surah to Fatih, victory. Mm. It begins with sign 11. Namshi. سيقول لك المخلفون من العرب فيقول لك المخلفون من العرب. The desert Arabs, Arabi, who lagged behind, muhalafuna, who lagged behind, say to thee, sayakulu. You see how they are mixed up in when it comes to English. The words are mixed up. Uh, uh, شغلتنا أموالنا وأهلنا فاستغفر لنا. Let me take it again. شغلتنا أموالنا وأهلنا فاستغفر لنا. So the will say, lag behind will say, the Arabs who desert Arabs who lag behind will say, we were engaged in our flocks. We have brackets there which are formatted. We were engaged in looking after. Looking after is not there on the Arabic side. We were engaged in looking after our flocks and herds and our families. And that is Shagalakna Amwalina. Amwalina represents flocks and herds. Yes, flocks and herds. Wa'ahlina, and our families. Luna, Wa'ahluna, and our families. Ahli. فَإِسْتَغْفِرْ لَنَا, and our families. Do thou then ask forgiveness for us. Muhammad should ask forgiveness from God for them because they were engaged in looking after their flocks and their families. So desert Arabs, I've said it before, the Fulanis of today are at least among the desert Arabs, either they alone or they were among the desert Arabs, no home, just roaming about with their cattle in the desert or in the bushes. No permanent home. Do thou forget first lana. يقولون بلسانهم يقولون بلسانتهم. They say with their tongues, يقولون بلسانتهم. They say with their tongues. ما ما ليس في قلوبهم. They say with their tongues what is not in their hearts. What is not in their hearts. They say in their tongues what is not. No, let me read it well. they say with their tongues what is not in their hearts. Malisa fi kulubihim. Uh, Kul faman yumliku kul faman yumliku lakum min Allahi shay'an in arada bikum dira in arada bikum darran aw arada bikum naf'an. Uh, Kul, kul, that is say. Who then has any power at all, in brackets, to intervene? Who then has any power at all to intervene? To intervene is not there. Mamyumluku, power, that yumluku power. Uh, Kul, famam yumluku lakum, who has power over you? Famam yumluku lakum minallahi. Say, who has power? Who has any power at all on your behalf? On your behalf, with God, with God, minallahi. Famam yumluku lahu minallahi. Who has any power on your behalf with God? That's minallahi. Shay'an in arada minalai shay'an in arada bikum darran aw arada bikum naf'an. Say, who then has any power at all to intervene on your behalf with God if his will is to give you some loss, darran, or to give you some profit, naf'an? It's a question. Oh, darran aw naf'an. Bal kana Allahu bima ta'maluna habiran. Kana Allahu bima ta'maluna habiran. But God, that's Bal. Bal is here represented by but. But God is well acquainted, habiran. But God is well acquainted with all that ye do. Bima ta'maluna. The note to read is, well, we have two notes there, 4879, 4880. So let's go to, no, three notes rather, 4878, 4879, 4880. Let's go to 78 first, about desert Arabs. When the Prophet started from Medina on the Mecca journey, which ended in Hudaybiyah, he asked all Muslims to join him in the pious undertaking, and he had a splendid response. And he had a splendid response, full stop. But some of the desert tribes hung back and made excuses concerning their cattle and uh, families, as if they're the only people with families. I don't know whether I would have joined them or not. Fighting is not easy. Uh, 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 made hung back and made excuses, full stop. Their faith was but lukewarm. Their faith was lukewarm. Lukewarm, rather. Their faith was lukewarm. And they did not want to share in any trouble with the Makkah, with the Makkah. No, with the Maccahite. No. And they did not want to share any trouble, pardon me, not with, and they did not want to share any trouble which the Makkah might give to the unarmed Muslims on pilgrimage. So the Fulanis, pardon me to use the word Fulanis, the desert Arabs were actually cowards. Muslims on pilgrimage, full stop. Their excuse that they were engaged in looking after their flocks and herds and their families was an afterthought, afterthought hyphenated, and in any case, made after the return of the crew, and, and in any case, made after the return of the prophet and his party with enhanced prestige to Medina. That's the first note. Second note is 4879. 4879. They said this with their tongues, but no thought of piety was in their hearts. Let's go to the third note, which is 880. Their false excuse was based on calculation of worldly profit and loss. Tagabuna is a chapter in the Quran. Profit and loss, Tagabuna. Their false excuse was based on a calculation of worldly profit and loss, full stop. But about but what about the spiritual loss in detaching themselves from the holy prophet, or spiritual profit in joining in the splendidly loyal feelings of service and obedience which were demonstrated at Ubediah? Question mark. Mm. No, the fear of death won't let them think of these things. Mm. And in any case, they need not think that all their real and secret motives were not known to God. Let's go to the next sign now, which is sign 12. Which is sign 12. Uh, Bal zanantum anlan yankalba arasulu wa mu'minina wal mu'minuna, pardon me, arasulu wal mu'minuna ila ahlihim abadan. Let's break that. Nay, ye thought that the messenger and the believers, Mominuna, would never return to their families, Abadan, never, never, Abadan, never, would never return to their families. Uh, wa وزينا ذلك في قلوبكم وزينا ذلك في قلوبكم, and to their families, semicolon. This seemed pleasing in your hearts, Zuyenna. This seemed pleasing, Zuyenna. This seemed pleasing in your hearts, fi kulubikum. Uh, Wazunantum zannan, wazunantum zannan asawi, wa kuntum kauman buran, wa kuntum kauman buran. And ye conceived, zanantum, ye, plural, conceived an evil thought, zannan sawan. You conceived an evil thought. Wazanantum zannan sawan, or sawin. Yeah. Wazanantum kauman. No, where does kauman come here? Wazanantum zanna asui. Ye conceived evil thought, and thus zanna asui. Wa kuntum kauman buran, and wakuntum kauman buran, for ye are a people doomed to perish. Doomed to perish here is Buran, doomed to perish. The note to read is 4881. 4881. Their faith was so shaky that they thought the worst would happen and that the Makam Kurish would destroy the unarmed band. Full stop. In their heart of hearts, they would not have been sorry because they were steeped in wickedness and rejoiced in sufferings of others. Full stop. Full stop. Yes, but such persons will burn in the fire of their own disappointment. Let's go to the next sign, which is 13. I suppose. Mm. 13 has no note. No. Mm. ومن لم يؤمن بالله ورسوله فإنا أعددنا للكافرين سعيرا. And if any believe not in God and his messenger, we have prepared for those who reject God a blazing fire. So you see, the messenger and God always come together. Mm. When you obey God, you obey the messenger. That's what this means. Mm. You can't obey God without obeying the messenger. But then it is the messenger. But then it is God who will put you in fire, not the messenger. Mm. And that is, and if any believe not in God and His messenger, we, representing God, have prepared for those who reject God a blazing fire. So you see, the we here can include the messenger too. See, it's one of the reasons why God uses we for himself. Maybe the messengers included. It's one of the reasons. Okay, let's go to the next sign, which is 14. وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَغْفِرُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ يَغْفِرُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيُعَذِّبُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Uh, to God belongs the dominion of the heavens and earth. He forgives whom he wills. يَغْفِرُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ يَغْفِرُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. He forgives whom he wishes, and he punishes whom he wills. وَيُعَذِّبُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. But God, what here represents, but here represents what? But God is oft forgiven, most merciful. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. The note to read is 4882. 4882. Evil must inevitably have its punishment. But there is one way of escape, namely through repentance and mercy of God. Full stop. God's justice will punish, but God's mercy will forgive. Parent, I did it in my earlier, very, very, very early days. Semicolon. And the mercy is the predominant feature in God's universe. Colon. Then, double inverted commas. He is oft forgiven, most merciful. Double inverted commas close. He is oft, God is oft forgiven, most merciful. And that's note 4482. 4482 to sign 14. 4482 to sign 14. Let's go to the next sign, which is 15. سيقول المخلفون في- سيقول المخلفون mm, those who lag behind, and that is al-muhallafuna. Those who lag behind will say, and that's sayakulu. Sayakulu will say, uh, is a intellectum ila maganima, ala maganima latahuzu latahuzuha wala latahuzuha zarunan natabi'ukum latahuzuha zuruna natabi'ukum will say, uh, those who lag behind will say, when ye set forth to acquire booty, into brackets, in war, to acquire is litahuzuna. Uh, Litahuzuha, not litahuzuna. Uh, is intellectum ila magane ila maganima litahuzuha. Zuruna natabi'ukum. When ye set forth to acquire booty in war, in brackets, permit us to follow you. Permit us to follow you. And that is Zuruna natabi'ukum. Permit us to follow you. That's when they have fought and there is booty. Yes, they should allow them to follow them. But when they are going for the war, they are thinking of their families and their stock, livestock. That's mankind. That's our nature. Eh? That's my nature. That's your nature, viewer. Except those whose heart God Himself has touched. Okay. Oh, where is it? Isa intellectum. Uh, when ye set forth, that's intellectum. When you set forth to acquire, that's ila maganima, to acquire ila maganima. Eh? Litahuzuha, to acquire, to acquire it, or to acquire the booty in war. That's what I wanted to explain by going backwards. Okay. Uh, na lita li nata biukum, to follow you. To follow you. Yuriduna an yabdilo. Yuridina an yabdulu kalaman. Yuriduna an yub an yubadilu. Yuriduna an yubadilu kalaman lahi. Yuriduna an yubadilu kalaman lahi. They wish to change yubadilu, God's word, kalaman lahi. Kalama here is represented by word of God, Allah. Kul lan kul lan tatabi'una lan tatabi'una kazalikum kala Allahi min qablu lan tatabi'una kazalikum kana Allahi min qablu. Hmm? Say, not thus will ye follow us. God has already declared before beforehand. God has already declared this. This is in bracket. God has already declared this in beforehand. God has already declared this beforehand, and that is kazalika. Kala Allah. Kala here is declared. Kala Allah min kablu, beforehand. Uh, فسيقولون بل فيقولون فسيقولون بل تحسدون بل تحسدوننا سيقولون بل تحسدوننا. After before, then they will say, سيقولون, but ye are jealous of us. So the hypocrite Arabs, will now say that the fighters are jealous of them. Jealous of is sayasuduna, sayukuluna, bal tahsudunana, you are jealous of us. Bal kanu لأف كهونا بل كانوا كهونا إلا قليلا بل كانوا لا يفقهون إلا قليلا. But ye, I found that, but ye are but okay, let me go back. But ye are jealous of us, nay, but little do ye understand, and that's layef kahununa. But ye, do ye understand? Bal kanu layef kahun yek layef kahuna, but kalu yahab kuna illa kalilan. Kahuna is understand, but little do ye understand. Into brackets, such things. And that's sign 15. The note to read is, no, we have three notes, I believe. Yes, three notes: 4883, 4884, 85, and 86. In fact, four notes: 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have four notes to read. Let's go to the first one: 4883. 4883. Now comes out another motive behind the minds of the laggards, those who lag behind, uh, behind the minds of the laggards, full stop. The journey for pilgrimage had no promise of war booty. The journey for pilgrimage had no promise of war booty, full stop. If at any future time there should be a promise of booty, they would come, exclamation mark. But that is to reverse God's law and decree, full stop. And that is wala yubadillah kalam Allah. But God's decree law does not change. Decree, full stop. Jihad is not for personal gain or booty. Jihad is for gain in the hereafter, not personal in this world. So jihad is not for personal gain or booty. Colon. See Surah 8, that's Amfalu, War Booty. Yes. See Surah 8, an introduction to Surah 8, paragraph 2. See Surah 8, an introduction to Surah 8, paragraph 2. On the contrary, jihad is hard striving. On the contrary, jihad is hard striving in war and peace and in the cause of God. Let's go to 4884. 4884, the next or the second note. 4884. Not thus. Not thus in italics, then colon, i.e., not on those terms. Not on those terms. Mm. Uh, Not if your object is only to gain booty. Mm. Let me see if I can find not got that in this. Okay, let's go to the English side. So they are not to follow them because of booty. Mm. I think that's what it means. And that is not thus, i.e., not on those terms, not if your object is only to gain booty. The third note, 4885, we are asked to go to Surah 8 again, chapter 8, and follow. eh, Sign 1 and note 1179. We are asked to go refer there. And when we refer, we'll see a similar thing because that chapter is on Amphalo, which is war booty. Mm. Okay, let's go to the last note, 4886. 4886. Fourth and last note. And that is on jealousy. Bal ta sudu nana. Bal ta sudu nana. 4886. The desert Arabs loved fighting and plunder and understand such motives for war. And understand such motives for war. When they are going for war, they are thinking of plunder and booty. Uh, yes, they are thinking of plunder. And, oh my God, let me take it again. The desert Arabs loved fighting and plunder and understand such motives for war, full stop. The higher motives seem to be beyond them. And what is the higher motives? The reward in the heaven. So the higher motives seemed to be beyond them, full stop. Like ignorant men, they attributed petty motives or motives of jealousy if they were kept out of the vulgar circle of fighting for plunder. So if fighting for plunder, they were kept out of it, they are not comfortable. Full stop. But they had to be schooled. But they had to be schooled. And they were schooled to higher ideas of discipline, self-sacrifice, and striving hard for a cause. And that's the fourth and last note to sign 15. Let's go to sign 16. كل للمخالفين من الأعراب كل للمخالفين من الأعراب. Say to those who lagged behind among the Arabs. Say to the desert Arabs who lagged behind. من الأرض ستدعون إلى قوم أولي بأس شديد تقاتلونهم. Let me see if I can read it better. ستدعون ستدعون إلى قوم أولي بأس شديدا تقاتلونهم. Let me go back. Say to the desert Arabs who lag behind, ye shall be summoned Ye shall be summoned to fight is in brackets. Without it, it reads, ye shall be summoned against a people, given to, against a people, ye shall be summoned against a people given to vehement war. Vehement is shadidan. Mm. Uh, Sataruna. Sata. Owner, and that's summoned. It's represented by summoned here. Ta. Owner. eh? No, to. Tudhuna. Tudowner is represented by summoned. Tuduna. Tuduna. Ila Komin. Ulil Baasin. Who are given to war. Vehement war. Uh, against people. To fight against people. To vehement war. Let me take it. Let me go back. Ye shall be summoned to fight against a people given to vehement war. Mm? And that is Bisa Shadidan. Mm? Be, no, it's not Ba'asa. Ba'asin. Ba'asin. Shadidan. Ba'asin. Shadidan. Mm? To Katilunahum. To fight against. To Katilunahum. Or is it? Yes, to Katilunahum. To fight against them. Katalunahum. Au yusalimuna. Oh, no, no, no. Pardon, I made a mistake earlier. Tukalinunahum. Au yuslimuna. It shall be given to people uh, who are used to vehement war. Tukalinunahum. Au yuslimuna. Then ye shall fight them to Kalununahum, or they shall submit. Then you shall fight them, then shall ye fight, or they shall submit. Then shall ye fight, and that's to Katilunahum. Our use or they, our use limuna, or they submit, or they shall submit. For in for in to tiu, for into tiu, then if you show obedience, for into tiu, then if ye show obedience, then if ye show obedience, God will grant you a good reward. God will give you a good reward. For into tiu yutikum Allahu ajran hasanan, good, ajran, reward. Yutikum shall give you. Yutikum Allah, God will give you a good reward, and that's ajran hasanan. Wa in tatawallu, wa in tatawallaw, sorry, wa in tatawallaw, wa in tatawallaw, kama tawallaytum. In tatawallaw kama wallaytum. In tatawallaw kama tawallaytum. Min kablu. Then if no, God will grant you but if ye turn back into tawallu, but if ye turn back as you did before, kama tawallaytum min kablu, kama tawallaytum min kablu, like you did before, yu'azibukum azaban aliman. Yu'azibukum azaban aliman. Mm. Uh, you will, he will punish me. He will punish you, yu'azibukum. He will punish you with a grievous chastisement. Yu'azibukum azaban aliman. Grievous punishment. Pardon me, viewers. Like I said before, I've not been speaking Arabic for maybe 25 years or more. Always English, 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 English. Okay, so pardon me, viewers. Somebody would have finished this section already, long, 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 long time. But anyway, the tortoise has his own plans, his own way of doing things. And I represent the tortoise. Pardon me. Okay. Uh, yeah, we stopped at Azaban Ali Man. And that's sign 15, sign 16. Let's see how many notes we have there. We have 4887, 4888, 4889. And that is three notes. Let's go to the first note. 87. 87. While they are reproached for their supineness, while they are approached for their supineness, spinous is spelled, in case I don't call it well, supinous is called S-U-P, spinous is spelled S-U-P-I-N-E. Then you add ness to it, N-E-E-S. While they are reproached for their supineness in the march which led to which led to Hudaybiyah, where there was danger but no prospect of booty, they are promised, if they learn discipline, to be allowed. If they learn discipline, to follow. They were, oh my God, they were no. They are promised, if they learn discipline, to be allowed to follow the banner of Islam, where where there was real fighting and formidable and well-organized armies. And that is given to vehement fighting. Shadidan. Omitted brackets there. Let me read with the brackets. If they learn discipline, to be allowed to follow the banner of Islam, where, then in brackets, as happened later in the Persian and Byzantine wars. I fixed the brackets, and that's in brackets. There was real fighting with formidable and well-organized armies. Uh, I think it's Basin Shadidan. We did it anyway. And that is note. Oh, I've even forgotten the note. Oh my God. We're on sciences. Yeah. Note 4887. First note. Let's go to 4888. For note 4888, we are told to compare chapter 27, sign 33. 27, I think, is Surah to An-Naml. I think it's An-Naml. So we're asked to go there to chapter 27, sign 13. Let's go to the third note. Let's go to the third note, which is 4889. Third and last note. 4889. That is, you, it's not ye here, this note. That is, you shall go forth to war if you learn discipline, if you learn to obey, do this, you do that, do that, you do that. No. So that is, you shall go forth to war if you learn discipline, not for booty, but for a great and noble cause. Full stop. For if your opponents submit to the cause, there will be no fighting and no booty. Mm. There will be no fighting and no booty. And that's note 4889, third note to sign 16. Let's go to sign 17 with each note 488, no, 4890. So let's go to sign 17. Mm. Lesa ale lesa alal a'ama harajun wala ala a wala alal wala ala wala alal akhraji harajun a'ama and ahrajin. Uh, there is no blame on the blind, nor is there blame on the lame. And the lame here is arajin, is araju. Wala ala arajin, harajun. And no blame. There's no blame on the blind and the lame. In other words, mm, nor one ill. mm, Wala ala marid. Wala ala marid. And marid is ill. And no blame on A'ama, blind, or Arajin, lame, or Maridun, the ill, the sick ones. Harajun, blame. No blame on them, the three groups. A'ama, Arajun, and Maradun. The three of them, blind, lame, and sick or ill. No blame on them if they don't go to war. Mm. ومن يطع الله ورسوله يدخله جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار. And those that follow God and His messenger, they were admitted to gardens under which they were followed to war, under which flows rivers and under which flows rivers. تجري من تحتها الأنهار. تجري من تحتها الأنهار. Yeah, that's it. ومن يتولى يعذبه عذابا أليم. عذابا أليما. ومن يتولى نعذبهم عذابا أليما. ومن يتولى يعذبه عذابا أليما. Uh, uh, and he who turns back, وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّى, he who turns back, God will punish him with a grievous punishment, with a grievous chastisement. God will punish him with a grievous chastisement, and that is yu'azibhu azaban aliman. God is in brackets because it's not there on the Arab side, on the side of the Arabs, on the side of Arabic. Waman yatawalla, whoever, he will be punished. Yu'azibuhu means he will punish with grievous punishment. But here he has pushed the word Arab there. Direct. God will punish him. But here it's in that yu'azibuhu, he will be punished on the Arab side. On the interpretation, he said God will punish them, or God will punish him. The note to read is 4890. 4890. There may be neither fighting nor booty. There may be neither fighting nor booty, full stop. But all who obey the call to jihad with perfect discipline will get the rewards of the hereafter. That's why we don't want to hear. Hereafter, burn the road. No, 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 no. Huh? We don't want to hear hereafter at all. Pardon me, viewers. Am I right or wrong? Hmm? Okay, full stop. The blind, the maimed, and the infirm will, of course, be exempted from active compliance with the call, but they can render such services as are within their power, mm, and then they will not be excluded from the reward. So if the lame, the blind, and the sick uh, can't fight, at least they can do something, especially the sick and the blind and the lame. The lame can do something. But the blind, I wonder what they can do, except maybe listening to information and giving information. And that's note 4890 to sign 17. To sign 17. And that is the end. Sign 17 is the end of section 2 of the Surah Fatah 48 of the Holy Quran. We shall break here and come back in our next episode to begin section 3, and sign 18 begins section 3. Thank you very much. Bye bye.